All right, so it's the end of the school year. There's not a whole lot to talk about right now. We're going to do mostly lab time today. You'll notice there is one final, programming assignment up on Canvas. That's what you're going to be working on today. In lab, you're going to be continuing to work on your grocery store implementation. You'll be moving back into your groups in just a little bit, but a little bit of housekeeping. Last day of the semester. So, a couple things. End of the year party next Friday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. AC 1114. Be there or be square, or you can join in on Discord and play with us as well. I'm going to be playing Age of Empires 2, so if any of you guys are a real-time strategy fan, you probably know all about Age 2. If you don't, you have a week to buy it and get good, because we're going to be doing a lot of Age 2. The dean of the college will be joining us, so, gambate. He's probably better than me at this point, so we'll see how it goes. Minkrelli, our TA, everybody please give him a very warm clap emoji on Discord. He has done an absolutely fantastic job this semester, being your TA, your embedded tutor, whatever you want to call him. He's gone way above and beyond, like all those like YouTube videos he made for you explaining how to do like Vim and Linux and WSL and stuff like that. He didn't have to do any of that stuff. He did that because he's just an awesome dude. So, please send him your warmest emoji. And it's a weird world we live in, huh? What else? Competence exams for finals week. You're just going to be, if you have any outstanding competence exams, make sure you take those. There's one last Zybooks on graph theory that's going to be winding up in a few days. There's going to be an assignment for lab time today that's technically due on Thursday finals week. You should have it done today. Like it's designed to just be like 10 free points for everybody. Just here you go. Thanks for making it to the end of the semester. You should be able to get it all done today. And that's basically it for the semester. Yeah. So the goal of this class is to teach you about the basic data structures: stacks, queues, linked lists, vectors, hash tables, BSTs, heaps, tries, I guess, or maybe more of a specialized data structure, but the basics. And when you use them, when not to use them, knowing that the standard library has implementations of most of them, and so you can leverage the STL so that you don't have to make a lot of the stuff yourself. Like usually when I make a hash table, I could make a hash table. I can make a hash table in a minute or two, but I usually just use the standard library. Why? Because it's better tested than whatever I can spit out in a minute. And it's got, iterators, and it ties in with all the standard library, STL algorithm code and all that kind of stuff. And so, once you know what's out there in the standard library, you just be like, I'm going to just use sort. I'm just going to use random shuffle. I'm just going to use this and that and the other thing, and just bloop, bloop. And you don't have to rewrite all the most basic elements of programming. Find the minimum element. Find the maximum element. Like these kinds of things, it's just a standard function for them. Done. Don't waste your time on the boring stuff. You know what I mean? Waste your time doing the interesting stuff. You know what I mean? Like you should be spending your time, if you're creating a Kimetsu no Yaiba video game, you should be focusing on what makes Demon Slayer, which is apparently breathing. I don't know why, but it is. And not on having to re-implement a linked list or a string class or a vector class. Just use the default things and focus on what you need to do for your particular implementation. Muya Kid was God tier was honestly the standard I wanted to be. Yeah, Muya did a great job too. Is he here on chat right now? No, I don't see him. But yeah, Muya did a great job last year. What's the hardest AI you can beat on AoE2? I've beaten Extreme before, but by cheesing the AI. Basically, if you attack their villagers, they go ding ding ding, and all the villagers run inside. And so what I would do is I would just keep like a scout, hit the villager once, and then their whole economy goes into the building. And then you just wait there, and then they come out, and you hit it again, and they all ding, 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 and they go back in, and you just sit there and cheese it and just completely shut down their economy. with just a scout, like every once in a while punching a villager. Yeah. Learn not to cut a bubble sword from scratch. Yeah, exactly. Just call it a skill sword. Just let it be done for you. There are times where you need more performance than what the standard library will give you. The standard library is not really designed as like a super high performance, you know, library. It's designed just as kind of a general purpose kind of thing that everybody can use. There are high performance alternatives to it. For example, the EA standard template library called EASTL, EASTL, is designed for like video games and things like that that need higher performance requirements than the normal standard library. It's very similar actually to the normal standard library, but a lot of times it's faster if you benchmark it. Let's see if they have the results in here. No, let's see it. But a lot of their classes are like twice as fast or something like that. So, yeah, and also just this semester, the goal is just to keep practicing programming. Programming is not something that you become, a Zen master at in a semester. It took me until about my junior year. And by my junior year, I'd taken, 2 years of computer science, 3 years technically, I guess, because I had taken some stuff before. I'd taken 2 or 3 years of computer science. And I TA'd, like Mincorelli, I had TA'd for a number of quarters as well. And at that point, I felt all right. I felt all right. Like, I finally felt like, okay, I kind of got this. Like, all right, kind of understand it. It's not something that happens overnight. It's like learning a foreign language. It's a metaphor I've used a lot, and the neuroscience supports it. Learning to program is like learning a foreign language, and you just have to keep practicing. You have to have that inner drive. You have to keep, focused on, eye on the prize. And the prize is, if I have an idea in my head, I can translate it into the code, without it screwing up, right? That's what everybody wants. Like, I have a vision for, something, I want to make a program that can listen to music and spit out the notes in the song, The ability to translate that vision from your head into code is basically what every programmer wants, and it just takes a while to get there. And it never ends. Like, you should always be working on improving yourself. You should always be working on learning new tools. Like, if I was going to be doing that thing, which I just made up on the top of my head, I would probably go out there and look at what tools already exists for, like, there's obviously fast Fourier transform libraries that will tell you the frequency breakdown of sound. But, like, are there note detection engines out there, and how well do they work, and, all this kind of stuff. And, you just dig in and work on it, and over time you learn this tool, you learn that tool. Oh, I learned how to make GUIs this semester. Oh, I learned how to do mouse support. Oh, every semester I learn something new. Like, I'm not talking about you guys now, I'm talking about me. When Muya took my class, McCowan is not muted. You're muted now, McCown. Like, when Muya took my class, we did like the RPG 41 assignment, and he added mouse support to it, and I went, "What? What? Mouse support? What? You can do mouse support in Putty?" And he's like, "Yeah, just click on the thing. You can click on the cards, and there's a blackjack, and you can click and drag the." I'm like, this is a text interface. This is not supposed to have mouse support, And he was like, no, it's possible. And once he told me that it's possible, I was like, all right, I need to learn how to do that. You know what I mean? And so the next thing you know, CD quadtree map reference, and the next thing you know, no, that's not it either. Next thing you know, I'm like writing programs that have mouse support in them, Let's see. There we go. So you can, for example, it's not working. Oh, it's on the wrong server. And so once you know, oh come on, yeah. So in a way, we got the Ace and A-star assignment because of Mui. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. So Arius, you got the A-star assignment because Muya just incidentally showed me that Ncurses has mouse support, and he was able to make a blackjack game. Is that really? Is the server down? And so yeah, and so basically that was like 2 years ago probably he showed that to me when he took 41, and I can't connect to the Raspberry Pi. Damn. All right. There we go. And so you can click and drag, look, with a mouse. That's cool, right? That's cool. So yeah, and that's it's something that like every good computer science major has, which is the that drive to always be improving yourself. You can't just sit back on your laurels and just sit there and let your knowledge stagnate. You always have to be like, what's out there? What do I need to know? What kinds of things do I need to be able to do that I can't do currently? And then work on it, right? I mean, there are some companies like WebAdvisor that have not updated their product since the 90s, I think. If you go to the WebAdvisor website, like I don't even have it on here. It's like fixed like 1024 resolution or something like that. It's like, really? Like you guys, you don't have a good job, WebAdvisor. Look at how snappy and fast WebAdvisor is. This is a super fast website. It's just like, if you sit on your heels and just collect checks and don't learn anything, yeah, you might be able to pull that off for a while. But like, our college is firing WebAdvisor. We're getting rid of them. So, because they're, 20 years, 30 years out of date. Assist.org, which is used, they never loaded, right? Giving advice for fighting burnout. Yeah, don't try and do too much at once. You should have the patience to read documentation. I don't like reading documentation necessarily, but I like looking at example code. So what I like to find is example code that does something close to what I'm looking for. If I was doing a networking thing, like if I was doing this Java Jeopardy assignment, I would find in Java a multi-threaded chat client, right? Because that's pretty similar to a quiz show, right? Because you're sending things, the client sends something in, and then it gets brought, this person's score gets broadcast or something. So I find something kind of similar to what I'm looking for, and then I go through it like a line at a time, finding out where the heart of the program is, right? So for like Java Jeopardy, like that's kind of the heart of the program, where you've got the server just sitting there listening, somebody connects, we spawn off a new thread, and then we go back to listening again. That's really main. It just sits there and does nothing and spawns off threads. And so once you understand that, then it's like, all right, you got all these threads running. Well, how do you have them talk to each other, right? And so, you got like one of these things or whatever set up, and that allows different threads to talk to each other by reading and writing into the same shared data structure. And so, doing something that's fun is really important. Very true. WebAdvisor's slogan is, meh, it works, but does it? Does it actually work? It doesn't work with Firefox. That's a thing I hear. I hear Mozilla's been around since the 90s and they don't support it. It didn't load there. Let's see if we can get it to load here. It's doing something. I don't know. Friend of mine, his father ran a trucking company, and the trucking company brought in good money, and all the contracts that he had were friends of his, And so years went by, and he just had a steady income and didn't really have to do anything for the business. And over time, the friends of his got old and died or retired or whatever, and new people took over and said, we're kind of paying you too much for trucking. Would cancel the contracts, and so his company's business just kind of dwindled over the years because he wasn't finding any new business, wasn't finding any new jobs. There you go. Error below occurred with the system. Well done, WebAdvisor. Never change. So, it's you got to grow. If you don't grow, you atrophy. So, exercise does it for you. Get your work. Yeah, exercise is very important. Diet, exercise, and sleep are the 3 pillars to bodily health, right? And computer science majors are bad at all 3. We don't get enough exercise. We sit in a chair. Speaking of which, I should probably stand up. There we go. We sit in a chair all day. We eat terrible food, and we don't sleep enough. So you need to focus on that. And people are like, getting enough sleep. Like, it's actually really important. Actually eating well is important, and exercise is really important as well. So, take care of yourself. A lot of computer science people have horrible back pain and horrible health, and just their bodies fall apart because they just sit in a very comfortable chair 24/7. All right, I'm done with work. Time to play Elden Ring, and you just stay in the same chair. You just click a different application. You just sit there. So, I used to sleep before I discovered coffee. Yeah. If you need coffee, then that's usually a sign you're not getting enough sleep, all right? And, I say as I drink my coffee, all right? BJJ, too fun not to go, I know. Yeah, I kind of want to take my daughter. Do they have, like, a kids class for BJJ? I kind of want to take her over summer. Maybe do, like, a summer camp or something. BJJ. BJJ is a lot of fun. It's a very fun martial art. Your sleep was good until you enrolled in CSI 40. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of computer science majors just put off things. They procrastinate, wait to the last minute, and then at the last minute their code doesn't work, and then they stay up till 5 o'clock in the morning trying to get the code to work, which is just not a great strategy, in life. And, the thing that I had as a plan, because I would procrastinate, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't procrastinate until the night before, usually. Like, my personal thing was I want everything done 2 days before. Like, if it's due on a Friday, I'd have it done by Wednesday. And then if something went wrong, I would have Thursday, to work on it, right? So I wouldn't have this, like, life or death, struggle Thursday night at 5 o'clock in the morning and nothing's working, Like, I would sit there and look at an assignment and be like, all right, this is going to take me 2 days to code. And so I'd start on it on, like, Monday, and then work on it Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and have it done on Wednesday, and then turn it in. And in my professional career, that's kind of the same thing. Like, I like to get, like, if I have a big report or something like that, I like to get them done with enough slack time that if something goes wrong, that it's not death, And so, I'm not saying not to procrastinate, It's like if they gave me 2 weeks to do a project and I knew it would take me 2 days, I just wouldn't worry about it for the first week and a half. Like, a lot of people worry about it. They get really stressed out. Oh, there's this thing I should be working on. I'm like, nope, I got it penciled in. I got here my It's a Girl pencil, and I'm like, this is going to take me about 48 hours. I'm going to start on Monday. I'm going to finish on Wednesday. And I am just not going to worry about it until then. And if something goes wrong, I got an extra, 2 days. I got Thursday and Friday to work on it. So, I'm not saying not to procrastinate, but if you're missing a deadline and actually not getting your work done, it's actually really bad. It's if you procrastinate and get all your work done, like, that's fine. Just try and get more sleep. But if you're procrastinating and missing deadlines, then that's pathological, and you need to back up off that deadline. You're too optimistic about your own skills. It's very common in computer science people. Oh, this will take me a couple hours to do. And then it takes 2 days, right? So you have to kind of calibrate to your own skill level and things like that. The better you get at computer science, the more you kind of can assess these kinds of things too. So, this semester taught you some harsh lessons about discipline. Yeah, and you just need to back off yourself. Like just be aware. Like, I'm not good enough to get this done in 30 minutes. it's going to take me 2 days to get it done. And you just need to look at the deadline and just back off that amount. Still wait to the last minute, but if you have don't wait to the last minute and be over optimistic, because then you blow the deadline and get a 0. So, 2 calendars, one for work, one for family. You'll forget most of the stuff you study too early. Yeah, spaced repetition is the key to studying. So if you want to learn things, you need to space it out. Like if you're studying for Japanese, you're trying to learn all of your vocab in one day, it's not going to happen. What you need to do is study it every day. So you go through your flashcards every day, every day, every day, every day, every day, and then you've got it memorized by the end of the week. In Japanese, like they gave us like 2 days to memorize hiragana, right? Which is like 40 characters. And so I was sitting there repeatedly going over it over and over and over again. And most people didn't do it. Most people, like my buddy, would just wait to the last minute, and then we'd meet up at a Japanese restaurant and study for an hour, and he would fail. Yeah. So, yeah, sleeping. You need to sleep between repetitions. Yeah, for sure. For sure. So, okay. So, gradually move the time you go to bed back. Yeah. You need to focus on your sleep. You need to focus on what you eat. Don't take donuts and blend them into a smoothie. Suck it down. I used to do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with some people, the real health nuts, and then when I came here to Fresno, the BJJ people were like, let's go out for Brazilian barbecue, and we're going to get all-you-can-eat barbecue. So a bit of a different experience from San Diego Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Fresno Jiu-Jitsu. Pomodoro for exams, yeah. Mm-hmm. Learning point for today: sleep. Yeah. Here, I'll even write them down for you. Here you go. Life lessons. There you go. Number 1, sleep. 8 hours a day, no joke. And if you look at the benefits of sleep, it sounds like a wonder drug. It sounds like one of these clickbait titles. Like, did you know that if you sleep enough, your blood pressure will go down? You won't be diabetic. You'll lose weight. You'll feel happier. Your mental health will go up. It sounds like this like crazy snake oil medicine. But it's just sleeping. So really important. One trick that doctors hate: get sleep. And a lot of the problems that we see with old people that we think of as like dementia and old age is just because they sleep very poorly, So there's a book I can recommend. It's like called Why We Sleep, I think. One of my TAs recommended it to me. I think that's the one. At Berkeley, that's the one. Why We Sleep. Great book. And it goes over all the health benefits of sleep and how to fix your sleep patterns and things like that. So, no joke. You need to work on that. Diet, eat healthy, and then finally exercise. These are the pillars of health. Exercise every day if you can. I try to exercise twice a day. And by exercise, I don't mean like I'm going to the gym necessarily, but like I'll walk, 20, 30 minutes or something like that. Okay, so been living off protein shakes and water. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but seriously, it'll help a lot. And then if you are going to procrastinate, do it intelligently. Don't combine procrastination with over optimism. That's a lethal combination. Right? You need to have an accurate understanding of your abilities. And then you should always have a fire. Okay. Especially when it comes to computer science. There's a lot of stuff out there. If you want to learn things over the summer, CMake, Docker. I was talking about this in 45 yesterday. These are 2 topics that I should be teaching and that I'm not. I just don't get around to them. What else? GUI stuff. Multimedia stuff. Images and sounds. 3D graphics. It's a whole field. It takes semesters of stuff on how to do 3D graphics. C is a good thing to learn, honestly. C language is huge still. Python, sure. JavaScript. And web development in general, which holds no interest for me. Like, I've taken classes on JavaScript and web development before, and I'm just like, nah, not what I want to do. I'm a back end guy, not a front end guy. And what else? There's just a lot of stuff out there, audio stuff. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff out there. And you can go on to Humble Bundles, and Humble Bundles will do they'll do cool book deals and things like that. Book bundles, yeah. Spring sale, who cares? Python, no starch press, boom. So if you want to learn Python, make Python talk. Ooh, voice control and speech recognition. That's cool. By the way, I like No Starch Press. I like their books. Automate the boring stuff with Python. Python Crash Course. Object-oriented Python. Python in small projects. Real world Python. Look at all these Python books, It's like 18 Python books for $30. So just work on something. And so the other thing is to develop good habits. Developers. No? Okay. Do you guys get that reference? Can you drop that link? Maybe. I'll just find it again. I just closed it. Humble Bundle. Developers. Ballmer is jumping around on stage with these giant sweat stains. Hour per day to keep the cobwebs away. Yeah. Don't burn yourself out. It's like the same thing like when people start going to the gym. Like, they're like, yeah, it's New Year's, I'm going to go to the gym. They work out for 3 hours, and they're exhausted and covered in pain the next day, and then they quit. I would just develop habits, right? I would just say 1 hour a day over summer. 1 hour a day. That's it. 1 hour a day over summer. Get the Python projects book. Go through it. Learn something new. If you do this for 2 to 3 weeks, you will develop a good habit. Okay. So just get into the habit of improving yourself. It's one of the single most important mental skills you can have as a computer science person. You have to keep learning. Computer science is constantly in motion, constantly moving. You have to just stay up to date. But it doesn't even have to be up to date. You could learn assembly. You can learn x86 assembly from the 1980s. That's fine too. Because what you're doing is you're building a tool set, right? You want to build your tool belt, right? Your tool collection. This is something that a professor at USC told me back in '99 or so, as I was applying for grad school. I drove up to LA and talked to him for a couple hours, and he's like, you need to have tools in your tool belt. You need to have the ability to accomplish different things. And right now what you have, you're good at, but it's limited. It's like you're really good with a saw, but you don't know how to use a nail gun, right? So you can cut things up, you can't staple them back together. You know what I mean? He's like, you need to not just be, being good at one thing is important, but you have to be good at a lot of things in life, and not just in computer science, Learn accounting, law, marketing, etiquette, how to English properly, all those kinds of things. And so I want my tool belt to sag my pants, yeah. So, one way of fixing your sleep cycle is just to be outdoors more. The sun will, if you ever go camping, the sun will wake you up, and when it gets dark, you will go to sleep. If you're outdoors hiking all day, it's 9 o'clock, I'm like, good night. You do not need to take melatonin. The trouble is, in our modern life, we have lights on 24/7. It tricks our brain into thinking it's still noon, and your sleep cycle extends. You have trouble going to sleep. You don't get sleeping naturally. So, going backpacking probably helps that. Sleep, diet, and exercise. I'm going to Yosemite, I think on the 21st, 22nd, something like that. Gonna go hiking. So, and gonna go camping the Friday after semester ends, things like that. Yeah, it's good for you. Okay, so yeah, build your collection of tools. Um, you know, C-size stuff, sure, but also like law, accounting, budgeting, communication skills, marketing. Had English good. Okay. Yeah, all these things. And the internet is a vast and wide resource. You can actually learn a lot of this stuff just online, but the Humble Bundles are great. And I have a collection of Humble Bundle books on my computer. And like when I'm working with my daughter, I'm like, hey, let's open this up, get some ideas. Psychology is another good one. The more you understand how other people work, the more you'll understand how you work. And then you also understand how other people work, and then you understand more about how you work. And you get a lot less angry and confused and puzzled by the world, because you're just like, oh, I see what's going on. Like especially in business situations, like a lot of times they'll try to like yank your chain. They'll try and make you emotional. They'll like pull on that emotional chain, and after you're like familiar with those tactics, you're just like, oh, I see what you're doing. You're employing that, trying to make me lose my cool and negotiate worse, So, I'm getting quotes on a new AC system right now. And they're like, oh, you gotta tell us by Friday, today, right? So the guy's probably going to be calling me in 10 minutes or so. Like, hey, did you make up your mind? I'm like, I'm not going to get pressured, dude. Sorry. Internet can make you dumb or smart. Yeah, kind of both a lot of times. Okay, so what you're going to be working on today is you're going to be working on bridges. And I want you to show me that you can go to documentation, C++ documentation right here. And I want you to be able to read documentation, which, like I said, people kind of hate. And use the documentation to make a visualization of your grocery store project. Okay, you can use any of the classes that they have in here. They don't have like hash tables and things like that, but they have like the basic stuff. Let's see if I can just go to the main page, which isn't the main page there. Here's what they got. 1D arrays, 2D arrays, images, various kinds of linked lists, trees, and graphs. So just visualize one of those things. I don't care what it is. If you're doing a DoorDash ordering system, then just visualize the next 5 orders in the DoorDash queue, something like that. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to visualize the entire thing, just like a like a little sample of it, little section of it, something like that. Okay? And I want you to go to the website here, go through the documentation, and if you do what I do, you find an example, right? Like, okay, we got all these tutorials here. All right, lists. Okay, I'm going to be doing a graph, so I'm going to go click here, and let's do adjacency list. That's probably better. Okay, and you kind of go, all right, you kind of skim. All right, here's the source code. All right, cool. There's the source code. All right, sweet. And then you copy and paste the source code into the server, and you punch in your bridges number, and you're trying to demonstrate to me that you are an independent person, right? That you're a fully, armed and operational Death Star. That I can just point you at documentation, and you can look at the documentation and copy and paste it like a real programmer, and like a real programmer, you know how to change the things that need to be changed and not change the things that don't need to be changed, because that's the key skill in computer science. Right, so copy and paste, change the things that need to be changed, and then integrate it with your code a little bit. Here they're making a graph with like some actors or something. Maybe you do, I don't know, you're visualizing like if you're doing the customer relations database, like which customers are friends with which customers. And so you just add some vertices, you add some edges between them, visualize it, call it a day, 10 free points. That's it. Copy, paste, change, make it tie in with your grocery store thing, screenshot, 10 points. It's a gift from me to you at the end of the semester, okay? Because this is kind of like, for some of you, you're not coming back for 26, even though you should. I'm sending you off, like pushing the bird out of the nest. And so at the end of the day, that's what a programmer needs to be able to do. You need to be able to find the documentation, find example code, copy, paste, modify, and then get it working for your project. And once you can do that, sky's the limit. Really. Like, you're on, you can do anything kind of at that point, as long as there's example source code. If there's no example source code, you cry. I bought this thing. For a project. It's a little linear actuator kind of thing. There's no documentation on it whatsoever. What voltage does it take? What controller does it need? Yeah. So I just sat there and cried by myself a little bit. No example code. Do you need to have a working grocery part or the entire grocery system? You do not need to have an entire working grocery system. You just need to have part of it working. Your little corner of the grocery store enterprise working. Okay? So, yeah, you don't want to eat just soft food all the time. You do want to develop your jaw, especially for kids. You're on to data science, no discrete math. I guess. All right. Yeah. So your choice. It's kind of, graphs are kind of useful. Just saying. These things come up everywhere. Okay. You're probably going to have to visualize graphs as well, like in data science. Just saying. Just good discrete math book recommendations? No, they're all bad. Yeah. I've reviewed, I'm trying to look at my bookshelf down here. I've reviewed probably 3 discrete math textbooks, and I can't really recommend any of them. Zybooks, maybe. The Zybooks on discrete math is all right. Yeah. CSI 26 is discrete math. Yeah, that's the next class. The next class after this one is discrete math, and then your final class here at Clovis Community College is CSI 45, which is assembly programming and computer architecture and projects. What do I use to teach CSI 26? I have my own lectures. So I've put together a whole set of lectures for CSI 26. The one that you saw last class was actually a CSI 26 lecture. I can kind of give you an idea. That's like mid-semester CSI 26. No Zybooks for CSI 26, I don't think. Maybe. If you want, I can probably add Zybooks to it. Probably do that. At a lot of colleges, like at UC Irvine, like Muya was telling me, their discrete math class, it's literally just the Zybooks. Like the professor comes in and reads the Zybooks to them. And then they have to do the Zybooks. And that's the semester. So. I know that's gonna be a dynamic class, and somebody just sits there and reads a web page to you. Yeah. Nah, I teach at my own, and then I have my own presentations and worksheets and things like that I made. So, last thing. Yeah, and that's why you pay the big money to go to Irvine. Last thing is IS50 this summer. It's going to be July 5th or something like that to the end of July. It's like July 30th or whatever. I don't have the exact dates. I can probably pull it up. May, June, July 5th to the 29th. Okay. And it's, I think it's like noon to like 3:30 each day. Which sounds like a really long day, right? 3.5 hours of game development sounds like a really long day. And it kind of is. But I break it up, right? So a little bit of lecturing, a little bit of Aaron is unmuted as well. Per day. Yeah, it's 3.5 hours per day. It's an entire semester in 4 weeks. But we play games, we talk about games, we analyze games, we do lab time. And there's kind of like a theme for each week. And at the end of it, you're actually going to be at like an okay level of game development proficiency. And after you take that, you can take 50B, second semester game development, where we actually do like programming. 50A doesn't really have any programming requirements per se. It's like high level programming, like visuals, like click and drag programming, kind of like Scratch if you've done that before. Then 50B though, we get to like implement algorithms for like computational geometry and stuff like that, which is kind of fun. Yeah, so if you got nothing better to do over the summer, take game development, and it'll up your skills. It'll keep you from having 3 months of dead time where your skills deteriorate. You'll get to keep practicing. And if everybody in there has done computer science before, then I've done things like have programming competitions where like you have to program AI to play like Connect 4 and things like that. And Mr. Bell, is here. Yeah, Bell was the only student to beat me. What was it at Pente? Was it Pente or Connect 4? One or the other. I wrote a tournament software that would load in people's AIs, have them fight against each other, and then keep score of who wins and things like that. And so I can only do that though if everyone knows how to program. If nobody knows how to program, obviously you can't be like, learn C++ by tomorrow. It doesn't work. Bell has an A in a class that I've still yet to take. You should take it over the summer. It'd be fun. You have to take 50A before 50B. There are no books for 50. There's no books. It's just come in, learn. It's a summer class, yeah. It's July. It's all of July. And it's just pretty intensive learning about a lot of stuff that you don't learn in normal computer science. Planning to learn Unity. You should probably learn Unreal Engine. That's what we teach. I think at this point, especially if you know C++, you shouldn't learn Unity. You should learn Unreal Engine. There's nothing wrong with Unity. It's just it's written in C# instead of C++. Yeah, if you want to learn C#, then it's all good. C#, there's nothing wrong with C#. Okay, so that is basically it for the class. So thank you all. It's it's been a weird year. It's been a weird 2 years doing the whole COVID education thing. You've stuck with it. I was actually expecting the online class to have a higher dropout rate than in person, but I think more people dropped out in person than online, which is kind of weird because there's more of a personal connection when you're in person. But you guys did it. So just work on the grocery store thing through the end of lab time today. Come to the end of the year party. (10 a.m. to 4 p.m.) And we'll like potluck and stuff like that. Okay. Thank you. No, thank you. Yeah. I can't make the end of the year party. Sad. It's nice not to have to drive. Yeah, it is. It is. I've been teaching my Fresno State classes online as well. It's nice not having to drive over there and back every day. It's definitely cut down on the gas costs. Okay. Thank you, Altal. You need permits? Not right now. Like, we don't have any permits at all, including for staff parking. So I wouldn't risk it if I was you, because if you get caught parking in staff parking, you'll get a stern finger wagging. But yeah, there's no parking permits at all right now at Clovis. Any online Seaside 26? Yeah, Seaside 26, I think in the fall is going to be hybrid. So I think you'll have the option of taking it either in person or online at the same time in the same class. We have an owl in the class that has like a 360-degree camera. So as I walk around in the classroom and lecture, it'll follow me, and you can actually take the class online. I'll have Discord open so the online students can ask questions. I'm hoping that people show up more in person, but if you want to take it online, I think we're supporting that. So you don't have to be technically in person for 26. Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad you switched majors to CSci. That makes me happy. It just says I'm staff in training. Weird. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Okay, so thank you all, and go into your groups now and get the bridges things done. You can probably have it done in the next hour. but I've technically given you till Thursday. So get it done, screenshot it, pin points in your pockets, and that's it. So thank you all. It's been really an honor teaching you all. Peace.